Hi guys, I'm going to be doing a full makeup tutorial using all ShadowSense products with emphasis on getting your ShadowSense to stay on your eyes, your lips, and your face. I know some people have problems with their ShadowSense creasing. Some people can't get it to not smudge on their lips, and that did happen to me. I have very oily skin that includes very oily lids, and my ShadowSense did crease for a while, and then I found out how to get it to not crease for me. So I'm going to share that with you guys. I apologize for my hair. I'm at the beach and there's not much you can do about beach hair. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is my foundation. That's what I do every morning. And then I'm going to do my lips so I can let my ShadowSense dry on my lips. Then I will do my eyes and then I'll do my blush. So I've already used moisturizer. I used the normal to oily moisturizer. I used the foundation, the original formula in shade Almond. The original formula is better for oily skin, and the anti-aging is better for older and more dry skin. For a brush, I use this stippling brush from MAC 130. I got this years ago when I used to use MAC foundation, and then I also use my beauty blender. Okay, how I apply my foundation, I just pump 2 pumps of the foundation on my stippling brush, and I apply it all to my face. And I have found that some people like to mix pearlizer in with their foundation. I have not tried that. However, since I have pretty young skin, I don't want the dewy look. I want a more matte look. So that's why I don't really want to try pearlizer. However, if you have older skin, if you want that dewy look, you can always mix pearlizer in with your foundation. And I blend it out, and you can see how this brush isn't actually that good because it leaves streak marks. So that's when I come in with my beauty blender and I just blend those out, and it works for me quite well. Before this, you can also use concealer. I don't really use concealer because I just don't really want to. I could use concealer to cover up these spots, you know, this spot, but I just don't really want to. I think it's okay if I don't. And this foundation is pretty high coverage anyway. Okay, so that's what I use for my base foundation, and then I will get into the powder. Okay, now I'm going to get into the powder. I use the loose powder in shade Natural. It comes in this and it has a brush attachment. A lot of people don't like the brush, however I don't mind it because it's just one less step I have to do. And how I get it to come out is I pull this apart like this. And there's this little mesh in here, and I take a safety pin. This is when I first get it. And I just poke holes in it. And then I put it back on, and for the first couple times you're going to have to beat it against the table very hard. Like, you make sure you hold it like this so you don't break the plastic, and you beat it against the table for it to come out, and it will come out. And then after that you can pull out any loose hairs in the brush, and then I apply it directly to my face. Okay, that's all done. So the next step I do, this is my last step doing my face, is I apply eye illuminator. Well, besides blush, I do blush at the very end. Just a little bit of eye illuminator, and it just gives it that, look like you have your eyes are open and you're ready to take on the day. It's also good for your skin because it's eye cream with pearlizer in it. Okay. Alright, so for right now, I am done with my face. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is my lips, and I am going to use ShadowSense for my lips today because that is what I told you I would do. You will need at least one lip sense color, however, because you need to sandwich the ShadowSense in between 2 layers of lip sense. You can use any color you want, however, I'm going to use Icicle because I find that if I want the ShadowSense color to be pure, I'm going to want the Icicle. However, you can use anything you want. So if you want a blackberry dupe, you can use Onyx plus mulled wine. You could also do with Icicle. It's really up to you. The possibilities are endless when it comes to mixing ShadowSense and lip sense. Okay, and this is my Icicle. I have kind of a stained applicator because the first time I used it, I tried it on top of Blue Red and I didn't know that it was going to transfer. So I do have a tip on how to not get your color to transfer onto your applicator. I just have not had the time to switch out the little wands yet. It's fine though. So what you're going to do is you're going to clean off your lips first. I'm going to do that with a Q-tip. I just kind of lick my lips and get any foundation off. Like, see how much foundation came off there. You want it to be clean and dry. Perfect. The reason I'm doing my lips first instead of doing it after is because I need to let time for the ShadowSense to dry. It's going to take about probably about 6 to 7 minutes for me, and then in that time I will do my eyes. So just so you know. So I'm going to start with Icicle, and the tip for Icicle is don't wipe the excess off the wand. You want a pretty thick layer of Icicle. Okay, so the tip for getting lips or ShadowSense to stay on your lips and to be non-smudging is to actually apply it with a brush instead of using the ShadowSense brush, because if you use a ShadowSense brush, that is already too much product. You really do not need that much product. And I'm actually going to mix 2 colors today. I'm going to do Denim and Pink Opal Shimmer. And what I find the easiest is actually to mix it on my hand like this. And I applied eyeliner this morning, so that's why that's there. So I'm just gonna apply it on my hand like this. And I'm gonna apply a little bit of denim. And I'm going to mix them up like this with my brush. I'm using this e.l.f. brush. It's like this. It's pretty flat, pretty dense. I don't think I would ever go out with this color on, just to show you what you can do with ShadowSense. Okay, so now my hand looks like this, and I'm just mixing it, and I'm going to just lightly tap my brush into it so I don't have too much product on it. And then I'm going to fill in my lips. So I'm going to start by outlining it. Another thing you might want to remember is that ShadowSense blends really easily, so you don't need that much product. You see I did almost my whole top and bottom lip with just that one. I didn't even tap it into my hand again. Okay, now I'm just going to finish it. I'm going through my the iPad, so I'm going to look at the mirror first. See if I can get it better. yes, I probably would not go out looking like this, but that is how I apply my ShadowSense, and you can tell how little product I used. So if you are the one to apply the ShadowSense directly on your lips from this brush, this is way too much product and you don't need that much. Okay, now that I've finished applying my ShadowSense to my lips, I'm going to do my eyes to let time for the ShadowSense to dry. So for my eyes, I'm just going to do an everyday look. I'm going to use Mocha Java Shimmer, and Garnet. This is my everyday look. I do it all the time, so that's what I'm going to use. So a lot of people say that their ShadowSense creases, or when they try to show people that it doesn't come off, it does come off on their finger, and that has happened to me, so I figured out a way to get it to work. And the first trick, especially if you have oily lids, is do not use your fingers to blend out ShadowSense. Use some brushes, and you can get cheap brushes at Elf, like at Target, from Elf for $1 to $3 per brush, and that's what I use. So I use this brush from Elf, and then I use this brush I got in my Ipsy bag. This is a great brush. It's fluffy, and I use it for blending. And then this brush, I don't remember where I got it. It's old. I think it was in a kit. However, I don't pay that much for my brushes, so, and it's good for the crease. It's pretty dense, but it's still fluffy enough. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing that I did for my lips, is I'm going to apply my ShadowSense to my hand, because sometimes I do like to mix colors. And if I do that, then I'll apply it to my hand, and then I'll apply it to my lids. So I'm going to apply Mocha Java to my crease, and the important part is that you use a matte color in your crease and on your lid before you apply a shimmer. That way, the matte is going to stay on your lids, and then the shimmer will be on top, and it will not crease, because shimmers crease easier than the mattes. And to get the right amount of product, what I do is I tap my brush into my hand, like this, on top of the product, and then I kind of dab off extra product, because you don't really need that much. I'm just going to apply to my crease, like so. And this is just giving it some shape. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. Okay. What I'm going to do now is actually do another layer of Mocha Java in my crease, so I get a darker color. And what's great about ShadowSense is that you can build colors to make them as dark as you need. Now with ShadowSense, you have about 2 minutes for it to be set in stone, and you're never gonna be able to move it again, so make sure you get it where you want it. Now that I finished putting Mocha Java in my crease, I'm going to put a little bit on my lid, but I'm only going to do one layer, so it's a little bit lighter. I'm going to apply a little bit more product to my hand, and then apply a little bit more to my brush. So now my hand looks like this. It's like an artist palette. I'm just going to apply a little bit to my lid, just so I can get a good base. You can also use a base like Candlelight or Sandstone Pearl, just anything that's matte. I mean, you could also use Onyx or Snow. That's another one. I just don't have Snow, unfortunately. That's the next one I want to get. Okay, so once I applied that to my lid, I'm going to apply Mocha Java Shimmer onto my lid again, so I can get that shimmer. I love it. It's so pretty. I'm just going to apply a little bit more to my hand, like that. And I'm going to use that brush that I used for my ShadowSense on my lips. I'm going to use the same brush. And I'm just going to lightly dab it in like this, so like that. I'm going to apply it to my lids. And you don't want to like rub it in, you kind of just want to tap it on. That way you'll get the most product to stay on. Okay. So now I'm going to apply garnet into the crease so I can get some more depth. And this color is very, very pigmented, so you really don't need that much, which is also why I like to apply it to my hand so I can get just as much as I need to. I'm just going to go to the top of my hand now because I don't have much room on the other side of my hand. And to apply garnet, I use this fluffy brush I got from my Ipsy bag. So when I apply garnet, it's just so pigmented. I just dab it in the product like this, and then I dab it on my finger just to get that right amount of product. And then I apply it directly in my crease. And I don't really like bold eyeshadow looks, so that's why this technique really works for me, because then I don't get too much product and then it stays just like I want it to. And it's always easier to apply more product than it is to take away product, just like cooking. So I did 2 layers of that just to get some depth. I'm going to do the same thing on my other eye. The light's kind of weird, so I'm actually going to move it over here. Okay. Cool. I like to apply iSense over Onyx ShadowSense's eyeliner just because it is truly smudge proof. I do the exact same thing with my iSense, is instead of applying it directly on my lid, because this brush is kind of hard to get perfect, I apply it to my hand. Oops, so you can see. I apply it to my hand, and I'm going to use the same brush. I reuse brushes all the time. And I'm actually going to use my mirror to do this so I can see it better. And I just apply it directly to my lid from my brush. This works well if you have a favorite eyeliner brush. I don't use eyeliner through my whole eye, I just use it on the outside of my eye just because it kind of makes my eyes look smaller, but everyone is different when it comes to doing their eyes. Oops. I don't use much eyeliner because I don't really like that bold look, but you get the idea. I'm just going to apply Lash Sense now. I use black. I don't have Undersense, however I would use that if I did. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do before I finish my lips is actually going to use blush. And I normally use Pink Posy for blush, however I forgot it on my trip, so I needed to improvise. So I'm actually going to use Sassy Z Lip Sense as blush, and here's how I do it. I take my daytime moisturizer, I use normal to oily, and I apply it to my hand. Just 1 pump, you don't need that much, not even 1 pump. And then I'm going to take Sassy Z, and I'm going to apply it to my hand right next to the moisturizer. Like this. I'm going to mix it in. I saw a YouTube video about a girl who used pearlizer with her lip sense. I think she used Pink Ice. However, I don't have pearlizer. So the first thing I did was actually try the eye illuminator, because eye illuminator has pearlizer in it, but it just pilled up. So then I resorted to my moisturizer. And the good thing about this is that it blends really easily. So I just apply it with my finger, And then I use my angled brush and I just buff it out. Super easy. And then another good thing about this is that it's very blendable as well. And it's buildable. So if you want a little bit more, you can put a little bit more on. Also, if you decide that you want bright orange blush, go for it. No one's gonna stop you. You can also do this with cocoa if you wanted, you know, a bronzer or a contour, and then you can use. You look like the possibilities are endless when it comes to using the products. Okay, so now my ShadowSense is dry. It's been about 20 minutes, and I'm going to take my icicle. And I'm not going to wipe off any excess, and I'm also not going to wipe back and forth my brush. I'm going to dab it on. Like that. See, nothing else comes on my brush. I mean, it's still red, but nothing else from the ShadowSense came on my brush. You're going to use a pretty thick layer of icicle. Okay, my camera stopped recording because it didn't have enough space, but I did finish dabbing the icicle onto my lips, and then I let that dry, and then I did one more layer of dabbing icicle on my lips, and I let it dry. Now I'm going to apply gloss. I'm using Orchid Gloss. And you can see none of the ShadowSense came off on the gloss. This red tint is from the Orchid Gloss. Okay, there we go. And then another tip you want to do when applying ShadowSense is make sure that your lips are exfoliated. You don't want any dead skin on your lips, or else it might exfoliate your ShadowSense off. So if your lips are super smooth, that's the best place for your ShadowSense, or that's the best thing you can do for your ShadowSense on your lips. So I hope this video helped you. I hope you learned something, and if you have any questions, you can comment below. Yes, so this ShadowSense will not come off. That's the gloss that just came off, but none of the ShadowSense came off.